But we'll make a start. We've got quite a few people now in the room. So welcome and good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar on how your organization can excel at business development. So over the next 40 minutes or so, I'd like to share with you our key learnings from having spoken to more than 200 business leaders over the past 18 months about the business development challenges they have faced and what they're doing to excel at business development. If you do have any questions, appreciate the chat is disabled, but drop me an email afterwards and I will come back to you personally with a response. And equally, if you'd like a summary of the slides or to discuss any of the content further, please do message me directly afterwards. So here's the agenda for the next 40 minutes, a quick introduction, and then going to go through the BD ecosystem, some of the common challenges, some examples of good BD practice, think about your own organization's business development health, some quick wins, and then a summary. So a quick introduction to myself for anybody on the call who doesn't know me. So for the past 20 years, I've been involved in building businesses, leading teams, selling and delivering business and professional services, mainly talent solutions. But ultimately through that, I've been building lots of connections, building networks, relationships, joining up the dots within my network. In 2022, I established Russell Strategy Partners with the purpose to help our clients be better at business development. And over the past 15 months or so, our clients have ranged a cross-section of business service, professional service firms, from management consultancies, executive search, pharma service companies, marketing agencies, and the like. So a real cross-section of organizations. So first, going to think about, well, what is business development? Business development is a term that often means something different to different people within different companies. For some, it is purely about sales. For others, it can be more strategic. And for others, it's about how do we develop relationships. And in many cases, it's a combination of all those. For me, I like to think of business development in three different areas. One is about the winning new business. How do we get new clients, new relationships? Secondly, business development is about how do we retain and grow our existing relationships. And thirdly, it's about how do we develop your offering? How do you stay relevant and of interest to your clients going forwards? So I'm often asked by people, is there a magic formula for business development? So for the fun of it, we thought, well, what ingredients would we need to create a business development magic formula? And this is what we came up with. So let me explain what that means. Again, this was just for a bit of fun, but there is some thought behind this. So soft skills, maybe a sprig of, being targeted in your approach, marketing activities, activity, a range of activities, curiosity, a healthy dose of that, time, market intelligence, the client experience, adding value, and a sprinkle of luck. If we put all those into a pot, that's a pretty good mixture of ingredients to help with business development. But then when we really think about, well, what is business development? I often hear people say, I've done my business development for the day, particularly people in roles where it's not the core of their job, but it's maybe a part of their job. Business development is not an event. It's not something that you just stop and that's it, it's over. Business development, it is an infinite process. It keeps going. Once we start the process, we start the relationship, that will keep going. We need to win the business, deliver on the client, on the project, and that hopefully leads to more business, or those contacts move on into other organizations and those relationships take on a life of their own elsewhere. So it really is an infinite process. And we want to think of business development in that way. And then within organizations, I often hear people, again, these could be consultants, associates, account managers, program managers. They may say, well, I don't have time for business development in my job. I'm too busy doing other things. So I ask, well, where do you spend your time? Are you delivering on projects? And they'll say, yes. Are you speaking to clients on a regular basis? And they'll say, yes. Are you keeping up to date with market news, what's going on in your industry, in your sector? And they'll typically say, yes. Do you meet with your clients throughout the delivery? Yes. And do you ever attend events? And most occasionally do, so we'll say yes. So the reality is all of those aspects are a part of business development. So for those people, how do we reframe their mindset to think about the activities that they're doing and what they can be doing to contribute towards the wider business development activity. Then there's always the question over, well, whose job is business development anyway? Quite like this quote by Steve Jobs: great things in business are never done by one person, they're done by a team of people. Business development is a team sport. It is an organizational capability. Business development is not just the responsibility of, say, the partners within a professional service firm, or business development is not just the responsibility of people with BD or sales in their job title. It is a team sport and organizational capability. And I think it's best viewed as an ecosystem. So what do I mean? And here's an example of that. So if the BD ecosystem, that could be your organization. So there's different functions that will be involved in this. You may have your leadership team. That could be the C-suite or it could be senior partners. You have the BD team, the people most responsible for that. Again, that could be partners in a professional service firm, could be a head of sales, commercial director, head of BD within a business service firm. Then you may have marketing. The delivery team, that could be your associates, account managers, project managers, or consultants. Legal and finance will get involved when dealing with contracts. And there may be a different function that is also contributing. So within that system, there are 7 functions. Each function is interconnected. They are interdependent on each other, and they have to collaborate to make that work. Ecosystems can be complex. There's different functions there, different things that they're trying to achieve. And then in organizations where you have different services, different business units, different practices, that becomes more complex as you layer up on top of each other. So you may want to think about, within your own organization, what does your BD ecosystem look like? Which functions have to work together, have to collaborate in order to help win and deliver and secure new business and repeat business going forwards? And then think about, well, is your ecosystem working seamlessly? And if not, why not? What's stopping it? So I'm now going to share with you some of the common challenges that we've observed that exist with some of these organizations. So the first one is around leadership. And leadership are not aligned in their approach or priorities to business development, which causes confusion and distraction and a lot of internal focus. So leadership not being aligned. In some organizations, we see there are egos, politics, and silos that exist. And that can lead to poor communication, a lack of trust, the wrong type of culture that's not conducive to collaborative working. Then we have BD strategy. Some companies just don't have a BD strategy. They've not identified the companies they want to win or how they're going to win them, or they're not thinking about how we're going to grow our existing relationships. Quite like this quote by Albert Einstein. I mean, this is down to organizations that find themselves, or people that are stuck in a rut. They're doing the same activities over and over again and expecting a different result. Or maybe they've forgotten activities that used to work for them in the past. They've got so ingrained in doing the same thing over and over. So what can we learn from that? How can we do things differently or better going forwards? Some organizations have the shiny object syndrome. So what I mean by that, they are constantly obsessed with wanting to win new clients. So therefore they go out and they win new clients. But as soon as they win those new clients, soon after that, they lose interest and they want to win more new clients. So does that exist within your organization? What does that mean? Quite like this quote from Andy Grove: success breeds complacency. Complacency breeds failure, and only the paranoid survive. So if we become complacent over the clients that we win and we're working with, we risk losing them. And in some organizations, we will see the leaky bucket. They are pouring more new clients in at the top end, but they're losing existing clients and past clients out through the holes in the bucket. So how do we plug those gaps? So for some organizations, out of sight and out of mind, companies, we do forget about some clients that we've worked with. After you've completed a project, that client may not need you for another 6 to 12 months. So Your company moves on, you're working with other clients, delivering on those, but organizations are failing to keep these relationships warm. And eventually they forget about that client, and understandably that client moves on. And then we look back and go, well, who did we work with 2 or 3 years ago? Let's revisit those, but it may be too late by then. So how do we keep front of mind with those organizations, particularly when we're not working with them? And show me the money from Jerry Maguire. So some organizations don't recognize and reward the cross-selling behaviors or the good work that people are doing, trying to join up the dots and create other opportunities within an organization. So for some people, it would be, well, what's in it for me? If you want me to do these things, there has to be some reward mechanism to enable that. And then lastly, so organizations recognize that their staff don't always have the skills, the confidence or experience to win new business or to develop existing relationships. This could be through a lack of training or a lack of exposure to this. So the company needs them to help with business development, but they just don't know how to do it. So those are a number of the common challenges that we've seen within organizations. So now I'm going to share with you some examples of good practice and what this may mean. So some of these will resonate with you. Some you may already be doing, and others you may want to explore. There are quite a few to get through. I've not yet come across an organization that's doing all of these. So don't be overwhelmed or put off thinking if we're not doing all of these, but I'm sure that some of them will resonate with you. So the first one is leadership. Leadership are aligned in their approach to business development. They're talking the same language and are demonstrating consistent behaviors. There is a healthy internal competition, and they are creating and enabling a positive collaborative culture. They have a BD strategy. They are clear on which companies they're targeting and, more importantly, how they're going to get to them. And they have a plan for how they're going to retain and grow their existing relationships. But they're also thinking about how to remain relevant, about creating new services or solutions for the future. They recognize that business development is an organizational capability, and it is a team sport and not just the responsibility of a few. Whilst they recognize the value and expertise within particular practice areas or business units, they don't allow them to work in isolation. So their people are proactive in looking for opportunities to cross-sell, to join the dots, to collaborate with their colleagues and with their clients. Communication is absolutely key. In the good organizations, BD activity is very visible and transparent. They have shared access to one business development CRM. They are regularly communicating what is going on in the business, what's in the pipeline, what accounts have grown, and recognize the individuals that have been involved in that process. And by sharing how and where business has come from, others in the business are learning from that. Awareness. I've got internal awareness and client awareness, just to explain the difference there. So organizations are ensuring that their people have an understanding of the other services and solutions that they as a business provide. So they're able to pick up on the hooks that may come out in conversations and ask client relevant questions to identify opportunities. But these people are not expected to be the subject matter experts, merely to identify the need and bring their colleagues in after them. And then on the client awareness, organizations are ensuring that their clients are aware of the wider services they provide, the problems they can help solve through marketing or personal communications. I've heard many times over the years, colleagues and even clients say, I did not know you did that, even though we thought we had a good relationship with them. So if they don't know, they won't think of us for that opportunity. Marketing and automation. The organizations are seeing marketing as a strategic partner, not just a creative department to prepare slides and materials. Marketing helping to define and communicate the value proposition, the problems they are solving, targeting, segmentation, and developing a range of tools and marketing collateral. And automation, companies are starting to think about what AI or automation software is relevant to us that can make us more efficient in the process. And it could be as simple as something like Calendly for appointment making, or Google Alerts for market intelligence, or Taplio to generate LinkedIn content, or Dripify to automate lead generation on LinkedIn. There are literally hundreds of automation AI type tools that are now coming out to help with this process. So you may need to explore, research, and find the ones that are relevant for your organization. The CX, or the client experience. Organizations are ensuring they do deliver a great client experience. They have good communication, they deliver on time, they deliver on budget. They are solving the problems and delivering the client's desired outcomes. But they're also making their clients' life easy. They're making their clients look good and going above and beyond. And they don't take their relationships for granted. They don't give their clients a reason to go elsewhere. Cross-selling. Organizations recognize the potential value to be realized from cross-selling. If you have multiple services, are we selling those services into different organizations or not? They're making sure that people know this and clients know how else we can support them. They're removing internal barriers and making it easy for the clients to buy more from them. Some clients will want a range of partners and they won't want all their eggs in one basket. But if you don't ask, it's a no already. Adding value. When working with a client, organizations are going above and beyond to delight their clients. They're going the extra mile. When a project comes to an end, or they're not on a project, which is often the hardest time for a services firm, they're adding value by keeping their clients informed of news, of trends, of sharing insights, competitor intelligence, or connecting them to other relevant people. And they're using their knowledge to anticipate the client's future needs, helping them prepare for this. Organizations are ensuring their BD strategy has a wide range of activities, and they're not just stuck doing the same thing over and over. Organizations are investing in developing or refreshing the BD mindset, skill set, tool set of their people, providing them with support and building their confidence to engage in BD activities. Organizations are prioritizing business development as they know without it, they will not have a business. They're committing time and resource to ensure there is a pipeline of future business. When it comes to talent, organizations are recognizing that every person in the team has different skills and strengths they could apply as a part of that team effort. For example, not everyone will be suited to finding and winning business. Not everyone will enjoy networking events. Some will be better at nurturing relationships, and others will be great at analyzing data. So think about your team and who is best placed to do different activities. Organizations are rewarding people for contributing to the team effort. This could be through the annual review process, making it a part of their KPIs, or through bonuses or some form of commission structure. They're not just rewarding the people who win the business. Worth checking, some organizations have told me they do have these reward mechanisms in place, but it's not really well used, or they're not paying out much on it. So there may be a problem as to why. Why aren't people taking advantage of a chance to earn some extra money or to do the activities? We're seeing companies are really understanding their client's journey. They understand where the client is now and where their client is trying to get to. And they're very clear on how they can help them on this journey to achieve their goals. Organizations are activating their advocates. They're asking for and gaining endorsements, referrals, recommendations to others within the client's own organization, but also to their wider network. A warm introduction is invaluable. Organizations are training their people on how to use LinkedIn as a business development tool, from the content on their profile to how they are engaging with clients and with prospects, to using Sales Navigator. It is a great tool that most people are underutilizing. So how can your people get better at that? Collaboration is fairly key. Organizations are collaborating internally across practices or services or functional areas. Organizations are collaborating and learning with their clients directly. And organizations are collaborating with other organizations who provide complementary services and maybe deal with the same audiences, which helps deepen relationships and creates more opportunities. For example, when I was in executive search, I collaborated with an employment lawyer. I would see people leaving jobs and needing legal support, and I'd refer them to the employment lawyer. And that person remembered that I helped them and were thankful. There was nothing else in it for me, bar goodwill and adding value to that relationship. And equally, the employment lawyer would occasionally know of clients who were recruiting, and they could introduce me back. So think who could be partners that you could be collaborating with. And then lastly, consistency. Some organizations are just getting really good at being consistent with business development, which avoids the peaks and troughs of BD activity and avoids the peaks and troughs of revenue that comes with that. So now I'm going to think about, well, how can you check your organization's business development health? There's a simple health check for you. So you need to ask yourself and be very honest. Are your leadership aligned? Do you have a BD strategy for winning new business? Have you grown your existing relationships across practices or service lines? If not, why not? Is there good internal collaboration and communication within your organization? Are you getting client feedback, testimonials, and referrals? Are you training and refreshing your staff on BD techniques and activities? Have you got the right KPIs or incentives in place to motivate and reward people to engage in business development? And are you committing to business development as an organization? So if you answered no, or if when you reflect on this afterwards, if you answer no to the majority of these, your BD ecosystem may not be as healthy as it could be. So some quick wins, things you may want to take away and think about for your own team and organization. So firstly, identify what is holding you back. What is holding your organization back? Again, you need to be very honest about this and hold a mirror up and look at the business. Identify the incremental tweaks that actually could make a big difference. May not need to be a massive change. A small tweak might turn things around. Have a strategy for winning new business. Who are the companies you're going after and why, and how are we going to get to them? And be consistent in following that through. Think about how you can grow your existing relationships. If you want to get an idea of the potential value from your existing relationships of upselling, cross-selling across your services, you could try our cross-selling calculator on our website or use this QR code to access it. Here, you'll get a very rudimentary example of what the value could be. Even if you could increase your clients by 10% that are now buying different services from you, that could make quite a significant difference to your top line revenue and projects coming in. Some other quick wins. Engage with your clients, past and present. Make sure we are talking to them, engaging with them, meeting with them, talking about their problems, what they're seeing in the marketplace, that we're on their radar. Make a New Year's resolution. Commit to business development in 2024. This is important. It will be the future of your organization. Map and understand each of your clients' journey. Where are they? Where are they trying to get to? How are you helping them achieve their goal? Identify opportunities for collaboration. Who are other organizations providing complementary services that you could collaborate with that are dealing with similar clients to you? And upskill and refresh your staff so they can engage in and support BD activities across your organization. So how can we help you? We have a BD business development health check. This is a 39-point diagnostic tool to really get under the skin of your organization and identify where and how your business could be better. We have consulting, which could be to review your strategy or help you formulate a strategy or look at a cross-selling analysis. And we help to upskill and refresh BD skills through workshops, mentoring, or BD Academy. So let's connect. Drop me an email if you'd like a copy of the slides or if you'd like to discuss any of these details further. well, feel free to use the link or the QR code to set up a time for a conversation to discuss your business further. And throughout 2024, we're going to be running a series of business development webinars, a couple of examples of the topics being planned, and it's an opportunity to hear from rainmakers. What is it that was the secret of their success or of winning business, of maintaining and growing relationships? And we're going to talk about business development intelligence and how we can use market intel to drive BD activity. And BD automation, what are the tools out there and what difference can that make? And thinking about cross-selling strategies and many more. So keep following me or Russell Strategy Partners on LinkedIn for more news of those upcoming events. So in summary, we've gone through what is business development, an understanding or view of a BD ecosystem. What are some of the common BD challenges that we're seeing in business service, professional service firms? Some examples of good BD practice, what companies are doing to be better at business development. How you can think about the health of business development within your organization, and some BD quick wins. So thank you for attending today. Thank you for your time. I'm see if I can turn on the chat. I can see questions coming in. So if anybody has any questions, please do put it in the Q&A, and I will see if we can answer some of those that are coming in. So I had a question. Someone asked, do you think reward systems such as eat what you kill can impair organizational BD successes? I think it does depend upon the organization. In some situations, it might be the right thing to do. In others, it may not be. And it will also affect the culture that you're trying to create within your organization. But eat what you kill can make a culture where people are just thinking about themselves, their business, their own motivation, and they're not thinking about the wider organization, the wider services. So it can be a limiting factor and hold back some organizations, in my experience. But in some situations, it might work well. Someone's asked, how long would it take to assess a team of 4 BDs? Actually, if that is in relation to the BD health check, actually with that tool, we actually ask organizations or encourage organizations to do this across your organization. All those different functions we spoke about that are involved in the business development activities would be included in that. That process typically takes somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks, and it's normally dictated by how quickly the employees reply and answer and deal with the questionnaire, which only takes them 10 minutes to complete, and then for the analysis and presentation back, but typically 4 to 6 weeks. And someone's asked, how do you embed a culture of commercial awareness with the most junior all the way to the top? I think it comes from starting with people early in their careers and starting to give them tools and activities that they can easily do as a junior within the organization. They're not going to be expected to go out and win business, but they can be looking at data, they can be reading the news, they can be following your clients and understanding what's going on, and start to feed that in and understand what happens to that data, how does that get used, and by good communication within the organization, people are going to learn and see what happens to their contribution. And then all the way to the top, again, often within organizations, people feel it's down to them. There's a lot of weight on their shoulders. They've got a lot of mouths to feed. So how can they spread that out? How can they bring people on that journey with them? How can they encourage them, enable them, reward them for being involved in that business development activity? So there's a number of different factors that you would really want to look at there. Someone's asked a question about a challenge of getting engagement from prospective clients. It is a real challenge in the current market. There is a lot of ghosting going on. I think a lot of clients or prospects are being bombarded, and there is a lot of noise out there from a whole wide range of different suppliers. So you need to think, well, why aren't they responding to me? Is my message relevant to them? Is it the right time? Do I understand where they currently are and what message am I putting in front of them? Am I giving them enough of a reason to want to engage, to want to hear from us, or to have a conversation? Um, I often find that you may need 7 or 8 different attempts through different channels to get some engagement before you take a call and say, okay, we're going to move on, and maybe we revisit in 3, 4 months' time or 6 months, or whatever the time frame is. But having a range of channels, trying to have different messages going out at different times to engage with those people. If you're not getting to people, then well, how can you get to them through your network? Is there anybody else that can get you an introduction to them? Or if you're seeing that company is at an event that you're going to, can you find other ways to connect to get in front of them? So you do have to be quite creative and think what are different ways, different tools that you can use to try and get that message, particularly with prospective clients. So people are being bombarded. So there is a lot of ghosting going on, but you've got to find a way to cut through that noise. It's not easy, and there isn't a magic formula, unfortunately. But keep persevering with that. And yeah, I think in business development, someone said patience is key. Absolutely, Dean. You do need to be patient, and then right time, right place. And often find you can do all these activities, and then suddenly you might get an email or a phone call out of the blue about an opportunity that you never even thought of. So you need a little bit of luck as well. But patience, perseverance, be there, support the clients, try to add value to them. And when the time is right for them, then hopefully you have that chance to engage. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you again for attending. Apologies that I had disabled the chat. That's my bad on learning how to use Zoom properly. I'll have that sorted for the next webinar. But thank you for attending. You've got 15 minutes back of your day. Again, any questions, please drop me an email. If you'd like a copy of the slides, again, drop me a line. We'll look forward to speaking to you soon. And if we don't speak, have a good Christmas, good New Year, and a prosperous 2024. Thanks. Bye-bye.